Hey.
Welcome back to another episode of Boys Love Iland. This is episode, we are recapping what am I recapping?
This is episode 9.
Episode 9, right? Okay. How do we feel getting back into the spirit of Iland?
It makes me excited to just
Finish
wrap it
it?
up. Just wrap it up now. Because it's literally just like, okay, who goes next? Taki, Daniel, Kay, or Hanbin?
Right. If I didn't know enhypen at all, then maybe I'd be like,
Because I do like, if I was watching this live, I think I really would like one-by-one eliminations as opposed to big swaths of eliminations.
Yeah, it does feel like, of course,
It's like a drag
they're
race
still
about
not right. They're still not getting enough time. I feel like with like especially like Hanbin.
Hanbin is like getting no time.
No
at all.
screen time, unfortunately. But even so, it would be so much worse if it was like group eliminations.
Yes. All of a sudden, like 4 people eliminate.
Because they have new ranks. There's a room switch.
There's nothing different in the first room except for an arcade. Oh,
no, there's something very different.
And a
Top
benefit.
3.
Top 3 gets a day off. They get to go outside.
They get a field trip.
They get a field trip to do forced content outside.
Sunoo is like now in the yellow room.
Because
obviously he dropped rank, so
and
he's not in the
so
big
just
bed.
like, I mean, yeah, I've always wanted to stay in the yellow room. Like the yellow room is gonna be so much better anyway.
I do like that when he was like,
so funny.
the position 1 bed is so comfy.
Oh my god,
though.
it's so comfy though. Like
You wouldn't know, but I would. I love him. I'm going to come back to this later at the end, but they have a moment where they're like, I wonder how Ganu's doing.
yeah.
It shows here's what it shows to me. It shows to me that they all really liked Ganu.
Yeah.
They all like had some kind of relationship with Ganu,
Yeah.
that they're bringing him up later. But the show didn't show the relationships that they had. I mean, I don't think the show has really delved into interpersonal relationships
in general,
except
just the
for a
obvious
handful.
ones. Like the K and the
Taki.
other Japanese
Yeah.
kids. Yeah.
K Taki, K Niki. All the Japanese light, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty much. They did J-Bomb and they did J-Bomb Sunoo.
Yeah.
That was like a little bit. But that was more in the like explaining the dynamic of like
Yeah.
ground islanders versus islanders.
What are you
The show-
talking about?
The show is so there's so many layers.
Yeah.
There's so many complexities. So these are the 2 songs, the 2 original songs that they are going to choose between. First song is called Flicker. Now those of you who are enhypen girlies know
You already
Flicker
know this girl.
because she's on the first album.
Yeah.
So this song started and I was like
I've heard this before. Did they use this song before?
fully, that
Girl.
was me.
We already did it.
We already did it.
I'm
But-
curious if this is like their Say My Name. This is their Jelly Pop. You know what I mean? This is the one that's like one of the project songs that's stuck.
Well, that's what's wild. Okay, that's what I always think is crazy about Zero Base One is a lot of people I think were convinced that like that first album was gonna have like a
It's
couple,
all.
or like one or two.
Because Kepler had their Signal song.
Yeah.
And the project songs at the end. So that's why.
But like no, they said
they're
those
like-
are under lock and key. You are never
Girl.
getting those.
We're saving that for the world tour.
You're never getting ZB1 version.
You're never getting ZB1 version
It's
Jelly
Boys Planet
Pop.
version only.
It's live only, girl.
But honestly, do you think? I can't believe we're talking about we're talking about Iland, and now I've gone back to Boys Planet. Do you think the people who sang like
They get residuals or whatever?
yeah?
I don't know because I think it's all under the Boys Planet contract. That's the only thing.
So they just get paid like an upfront.
They got up
payout.
front. Yeah.
I bet they didn't give me a
I
payout.
bet they get paid that. Oh, shit, girl. I bet the contract of the shows. Unionized trainees, girl. Unionized idols.
Unionized entertainment. All facets.
Unionized period.
Unionized periods.
It's called being in the same cycle, girl.
Absolutely solidarity. That's solidarity.
Solidarity.
Flicker, okay, versus Dive Into You. Dive Into You, another original song. I'd never heard it before. I looked it up. Apparently, there's also an NCT Dream song called Dive Into You, which I didn't know. They used they chose Flicker for the album instead of Dive Into You. But I think that first album,
it's more
with
of that
20
dark
Cube.
vibe. Yeah, there's just something underlying.
yeah, give and take. They all just have this like. I would say more
Floor building.
I would say they're more pulling from like R&B styles than
Yes, I would say
Hip-hop.
Dive Into You fits more in the like Paradox Invasion
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
vibe
sure.
concepts.
So heesung, because he was position 1, he gets to pick. He gets to pick his song and his team. They said, you get it all, girly. So he
swept, girl.
He picks Flicker, which I think is a good choice for him.
Yeah.
And then his teammates he picks are Sunghoon, not a surprise. Jake, kind of a surprise. Jungwon, not a surprise. And K, not a surprise.
When he picked Jake, he was saying he wanted to pick someone that could express.
Could do the vibe.
Could do the vibe and could be like, yeah, the expressions. And was picking between Jake and Sunoo.
Because they definitely are two different songs, for sure. Dive Into You, which I am affectionately going to call DIY for the rest of the show.
Sure.
DIY as Niki, Sunoo, Daniel, Hanbin, Jay, and Taki. And then the two leaders are going to be K and J.
Well, I mean, Jay's the star of this episode.
Jay is. Can I say that? Can we say this? Jay is the star of Iland.
Yeah,
and we didn't. I had no idea going into watching
really
the show.
Is star of that. He has like a story every week.
Every week,
he is driving like his own narrative.
He's also like he's been in ground. He's been in Iland. Yeah. He's like overcome He is such a good
person to root for.
Yes. He's also a paradox because he says he wants to be seen as cool and not once on the show has been cool. And I don't mean that in like a shitty way. I just mean if you want to be cool, you like act aloof. And
but he's not. He's once. Very passionate about
the fact that he does this whole bit about like not being picked and then losing out on this rock paper scissors
and stomps out mad
and he's kind of doing a bit like he's definitely overplaying it
clearly, but
he actually is upset about it, so he's covering it with comedy.
Yeah,
it's so funny because that's you know how you be cool in this situation, Jay?
Just pretend
be like, okay,
you don't care.
That's how you be cool,
but he can't. He like physically can't.
It's so cute. It's so charming.
It's so charming and so endearing. The whole storming out and just like talking like, wah, I'm so mad, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then when they get into the rehearsals and fully just like, I want to beat heesung. Like that, just straight up just like, I want to beat him because he didn't pick any of us. Resentment, anger, embarrassment.
Yes.
At a 1 to 9 to 1 ratio.
Yes.
And it becomes his whole catchphrase the entire episode.
Yes.
It's his sponge dress. It's brown cow stunning.
It's brown cow stunning. Absolutely.
It is get those nuts away from my face for the entire episode.
This truly is the most drag race episode I've ever seen of an Idol Survival show. Of all of them.
Yeah.
Because when we get to later when they do their intros, they're basically their workroom introductions.
They're doing intro. Yeah.
They're one-liners. You can't write this shit. Okay, this is my genuinely the best part of this episode is Jay's in his talking head talking about how upset he is. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Excuse me, I need something sweet because when I get stressed, I need to eat something sweet." And then takes a bottle of honey and just pours it down his throat. It is the most you know how cool it is to just eat honey straight from the bottle. This is what I was missing when I got into enhypen, and I was like, I don't really
get it.
I mean, like
not get it.
Once I had seen a bunch of N O'Clock, and then they did that one like weekend special or whatever. I feel like of all of the contestants on this show, I think I know Jay the best.
Yeah,
because he's so himself.
Absolutely. I mean, we make fun that like he's, a rich boy from Seattle, but you can tell he's someone who has always been told that like, just be yourself.
Oh yeah,
no matter how kind of
there's no like pretense.
Yeah, even though even the trying to be cool thing.
Yes, he's very similar to. It's not the same as Jiyoung, right? But there is something about like the visual of being like the K-drama coldness is like good and appealing, while also like his natural personality is not necessarily that specifically.
Yes.
They divide their parts. So first I'll talk about DIY. So Jay divides the parts. There's 6 members in this group. Systematically is like, here's your best. Here's the thing we should emphasize that is like your best
that's your
feature.
Best. But here are also the things that you've been told to work on.
Yeah.
So it'll also show that you're working on this.
Yeah. Hanbin's pronunciation doesn't have to be perfect on these lines because it's like about like more how the syllables hit than like the pronunciation. He was like using that to his advantage. I was like, this is the way it was thought out.
It's the most thought that I've seen going into any of these groups. Because even
across the board.
Especially from part one, where part one was fully just like, everyone just work on their own.
Yeah.
So it's very...
Or just like, who wants this? Raise his hands. And then you vote based on arbitrary nothing.
Yeah. And you know who was glad this was happening? Taki. Taki was like, girl, just tell me what to do. Tell me what to dance. So good.
Let go and let God. Let go and let Jay. Over it.
But over at the Flickr, when the fact that Jay is having like a fully like flourishing moment, Kay on the other side of the episode is having like I wouldn't say a fall from grace, but there's something tragic about it. There's something, us and Nate have talked about it. There's something very Greek tragedy about it.
It feels like part 2 of the show is where every obstacle is getting in Kay's way.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I really do not read this as evil editing.
No, I really don't. Because
in this episode, I actually felt really bad for Kay.
Yeah.
I started crying at one point.
Yes, I felt so bad for Kay.
Yeah. So they go to divide the lines. And Kay and heesung both want PO2. And then heesung is just like, it's fine, I'll just take PO1, it's fine.
Already starting to bubble up that like sometimes I feel like we can't really express our opinions because Kay is very intimidating.
Meanwhile, Jake, his whole thing this whole episode is like, I am in a group with 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm 7.
Yep.
And so that is his whole battle this whole show.
Do you want to just finish all of Flickr?
Let's finish Flickr.
I hardly know her.
So Kay is like too intense.
There is this moment where they're doing the choreo and he's like, oh, we do this twice. We shoulder roll twice.
Yeah.
And they watch the video and it's actually just once. And then Kay realizes that he made a mistake and is just mad the entire dance practice. Oh. And Jungwon is like, you can tell when Kay is upset. And then it just completely changes the vibe because he holds almost all of the presence in the choreo, in the dance practice.
Yes.
That when he's upset, it makes us all feel uneasy.
Well, and he is such a classic example of like the dancer who like holds himself to such an extremely high
standard. Yeah.
And then when you don't hit it, you only are mad at yourself.
Absolutely.
But like you can be mad at, I don't even know if you can be mad at yourself and it not affect the room because like he's so angry.
Oh no.
So that's happening. They feel like they can't like approach him about anything or be like, hey, should we try this? Because he'll just like shoot them down because he wants to run things a very specific way that he wants to run things. Oh my God, baby. Again, so the midpoint happens. Sun Sung-do comes and he calls out Jake.
Yeah.
Because he's like ahead of the tempo. Again, it's a tempo issue.
Yeah.
But a vocal coach. First of all, it's episode 9.
And I can't believe this is the first time we've ever seen a vocal coach.
I'm not saying that I want to watch a show where I watch them get like have a voice
vocal
lesson.
training.
Like that's incredibly boring. I've been in vocal lessons. They are not exciting to watch. I don't need to see
They're
people do
stressful.
scales.
Absolutely.
It's not interesting.
Yeah.
It is funny though. It's the first time. Mommy made me mash my M&Ms. Oh no.
Go gay go. Classic MT rap.
And she said,
now what is this, Miss Mamas?
they were like, oh, we don't really know the words yet because we've been focused on the dancing. And she was like, oh, so are you a dance group? Is that what's happening? What's going on here? She was so intimidating.
I know.
Almost like scarier to me.
I know, scarier than Sun Sung-duk. Absolutely. Because
she is not playing
because
games.
I do think, the vocals are way more vulnerable, I think, than the dancing, especially for this group, for Iland.
For this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no Gonu was your last standout vocalist.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Who was like vocal forward.
Yes.
I think Heesung is a great vocalist.
I think Heesung is a great vocalist.
But he's so pop.
Absolutely.
He's so like really good at pop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's not. I'm not trying to take anything away from any of the vocalists on the show, but
like main vocals.
Yes.
I think it was Gonu.
But I do think though that's enhypen's whole thing is they're all kind of.
It's vibe.
There's no official
positions. Or whatever. Yeah.
In like the TXT model as well.
She is not happy.
No, she's not thrilled. And you know what? She's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
She is not wrong. She was like I was very surprised that Heesung wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, and I said this to you, he is a Big Hit trainee. These are all like people that Big Hit
he's already trained with. Yeah.
So I'm sure he's met these people before.
Yeah.
And that's why they're probably like more
upset or higher standards for him. Because it's like,
what are you doing? Yes. What do you mean you don't know the words girl? Yeah. So Jungwon, Heesung, and Sunghoon. Here's their fun day they had together. They went to a puppy cafe.
Cute.
So cute. I would have taken a whole episode of just this day, actually.
Yes. I would have taken a whole bottle of fucking Claritin before I even walked in there.
Oh, for sure.
Jesus.
Yeah. A lot of dander, a lot of allergens.
Yeah.
We say as
I...
Then they go to VR.
It's so funny how scared Sunghoon is.
First of all, it's so funny that
we don't even see what it is.
We don't see
the zombies.
The weird. Okay, I don't know why they were like, let's package this into a 3-minute segment.
Yeah.
Because this could have been an entire episode.
Absolutely.
And it probably should have been.
Or probably just release like a special.
Oh yeah.
YouTube Weverse 30-minute.
Yeah, whatever. Because I want to know what was on this VR.
It looked like it was
zombies. And I want to know what they looked like when they were playing. Because I'm sure, I think they're more like chill, calm, cool, collected. Sunghoon is so scared. The fact that he is throwing himself to the ground is so funny. I could not believe this was Sunghoon.
I know.
This is so funny.
It's so funny.
Iconic. Legend.
They go ice skating, which
again, like, make this a 30-minute segment, and they basically do it.
They basically do it at 9 o'clock, yes. But like the way Mama had like a Yuri on Ice, like a Olympic, like full package of him just being like an ice prince.
You know what I hate? When people who are really good at a thing go, I just haven't done it in a while. So I haven't done it in a while, so I don't know if I do it. And then do like a triple axel, and I was like, fuck off, fuck off, Sunghoon. And I'm sure he would watch that and be like, oh, that wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my bitch ass is like, I can't even
giant
skate.
hard eyes.
Wow, awooga.
This sealed the deal for me that like, Sunghoon is in this group. They want him in this group.
Yeah.
He is.
The fact that they set up the day so he could
have an ice skating
that way.
Yeah,
and you know what?
Yeah.
He was on the national fucking team.
I would too. I would demand it, girl.
Yeah.
If I was Sunghoon's parents, be like, you better show all the money that we put in this kid.
Do you know how much training costs for ice skating?
That's part of the deal.
It actually costs a lot.
Yeah.
I think I remember Adam Rippon talking about it. What?
I watched Ice Princess. I know how hard it is to train.
Is that with Michelle Trachtenberg?
And Kim Cattrall as the coach.
Cattrall. And then they go clothes shopping.
This was cute.
This really felt like this was just the ad that paid for this whole day.
Yeah.
Because they were like, look at these brands.
Yes. They bought something for every person, which the next day everyone woke up and
Production bought
something. But they selected it. But everyone woke up the next day and there was like a gift at everyone's bed.
Yeah, that was very cute.
And it was very cute. And they were all like love piling on them basically because they were like, thank you.
So
back at Flickr.
The Heesung and Sunghoon and Jungwon, not really Jake.
Not really Jake because he's got his own. He's like, I'm just trying to
he's not in the room either.
Oh, yeah, he's not in the room. It's not 1, 2, 3. I was aware that it was 1, 2, 3 that like brought up this charge.
Because they're just sitting in their bedroom stewing about it.
Yeah, they're just like, wow.
We don't feel like we have a voice in this group. Blah, 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 blah,
We don't feel comfortable because we're essentially intimidated by you. And look, this is really hard. Okay, this is really hard. If I was Kay,
I think it's great that they said something.
Yes,
they had to. I see both sides.
Unfortunately,
Kay is being absolutely blindsided by this.
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
Yeah,
because
no one says anything.
They let it fester long enough. That it had to kind of explode its way out. And
because I do
if they had addressed it maybe earlier, wouldn't have been such a big thing.
I do think there's a way where like when they're eating, when they're changing, when they're like getting ready for the day, I wish someone felt comfortable to be like, did you like how this went out? Or like, did you like how it felt? Because I kind of got a vibe that maybe Jake didn't like, or blah, 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 blah. But I also think because it's the 1, 2, 3 room.
Other thing that you are not remembering about this dynamic. Kay is the oldest person
Kay is the oldest person in the entire competition.
This isn't America where we would just yell at our elders. You got to give them respect.
This isn't just America. We recall
the people we watch on YouTube, old dragons.
Or the very white thing to call your parents by your first name. What's that about?
I have never once called my mother by her first name.
I know, but there are people who do it, and I'm just like...
Kay cries and leaves, and it's
Kay cries and leaves. Because truly...
this sucks.
It's that feeling of like, everyone's felt this way this entire time. But I do think Kay...
And also, like, I can't handle... I hate getting confronted.
Absolutely.
It is like... Ugh.
Yeah, girl. That's why I keep doing it.
When people do the thing,
keep doing it, you guys.
Keep confronting me. When people do the thing where they'll be like, "Hey, we need to talk later," in like a text, the rest of my day is basically pointless. I cannot function.
Yeah.
And then the conversation. One time, my boss did this. And then the conversation will be like, "Hey, so I was thinking about changing this up," and I was like, that's what you wanted to talk to me about? You couldn't have just said, hey, I want to talk to you later because I have an idea for a thing. I'm sitting here being like, I'm getting fired. I don't know over what, but I'm getting fired. It's time. No. Why? Anyway, that is a me issue. That is not what's happening in this episode.
The thing that I also feel bad about Kay is you can tell that he knows this about himself.
Yeah.
You could really get a sense that he thinks of himself very critically like this. He probably beats himself up over it, and it's like now it's actually affecting how I treat other people. Ugh. That's a like a worse jab to take. He goes to the crying corner,
and here's what I do want to appreciate about our comments is the thing that people keep pointing out that I don't think we've really thought about with him and the age. Is because he's 23, he really probably felt like it was the end.
This is it. If this doesn't work out, then goodbye. I'm going back home.
So I totally see that in a way where it's like when on Boys Planet when Hiroto sat them down in the dorm and was like, this is my last chance. And guess what, baby? Guess what, baby? It wasn't. We're so proud of you. And obviously that worked out for Kay too, right? Yeah. Like he's an AN team now. With the industry how it is. You would fully feel like we're at the end times. Yeah. They resolve it. They go and like hug him in the crying corner.
They go to the crying corner.
Well, we've affectionately called the crying corner.
I mean, that's literally what they do.
That's the only time they're over there is when somebody's crying.
Because when they do the performance, they ask him like, how was it?
Right, before they start. They kind of have a
And he kind of addresses it as like, I'm still learning.
And they are. They're all trainees. Even once you've debuted, there's still things you're going to learn and grow and change. You're just not going to publicize it.
Absolutely.
It's going to be happening behind doors. Yeah. But the Flicker performance, these red suits. The red suits.
It's giving Love Killa.
It's giving Love Killa.
That's the full vibe.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. Obviously, Jake is like the standout, according to the producers.
according to the producers,
I actually think I would agree that I think I liked him the best because it showed more of the group. I think this was a really good group.
I think Kay is so good in this.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, when he is a person who knows, like Sunoo, how to like perform through his facial expressions as well.
Totally.
And I think some of them, that's like their last hurdle that they need to like overcome to like fully get there.
Yeah.
He has this like little like wry smile he does, and it's like, boy. I really liked Kay, but Jake was. They're all really good. They all feel really even in this song too. There's not like one person who's like.
It's a very cohesive. Good. This feels like
a group.
Mm-hmm. If he did end up picking Sunoo instead of Jake, I think Sunoo would have also probably gotten the same trajectory that Jake would have gotten. It's the thing of like giving someone the opportunity to prove that they can do something different or can grow.
Yeah, I think
more so in this song than Dive Into You. Because Dive Into You feels more like a safe song that they've been doing. It feels like DNA. It feels like the songs that they've kind of already done.
I guess,
and are less challenged.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this performance was really good.
The producers all said so.
And
it was kind of like clear.
Jake has won. So there's a producer pick, meaning that there's one person
who'll get double votes
for the last 24 hours of the voting period, and it's Jake. So slay my king.
Yeah.
And it is nice because I did not expect it.
No.
I mean, I know they had obviously kind of set it up by earlier in the episode being like, he feels weird about his placement, blah, 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 but I didn't think it was going to come back in this way. Mm-hmm. So it is really, I'm happy for him. And it was really nice. What is really nice about this episode is that they are all, this like is an individual challenge. And like, it's not the two teams are competing. They're just like Jay's whole thing was like, I want to beat them. But like, the only way to do that is just like you all get ranked higher than everybody on that team.
I mean, this is what I'll get into and dive into you. This whole challenge is just for the global votes. I don't think Dive Into You was wrong for kind of leading with that because I think they do. Some people were like, you could tell are performing for global votes rather than probably what the producers maybe have been trying to expect from them a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like this wasn't the challenge to really do that in.
Yeah.
It's this mixed messaging.
It's all of it.
Yeah.
It's not one or the other. It's all. It's A, B, and C.
Let's dive into you.
So Dive Into You, again, Jay has distributed these lines great. They go to the midpoint, and Sun Sung-duk is like, this was distributed well. It shows off kind of all of your
everyone's
best
trumps.
assets.
Yeah.
He says that his big critique was that, again, facial expressions. So we're back on this train again.
They don't really show that much.
They really don't show that much of them training because Flickr has the more interesting storyline with the K-drama.
So when they go into the performance, it does feel more of kind of like the more fun concept.
Oh, for sure.
But
we're not saying bright. Just more fun.
It's just really interesting because the way that it's specifically designed and produced and choreographed in a way that it's more of like a vibe. Like they're doing different things. They're on the steps. They're on this.
They're
grabbing the lights.
They're so, yeah.
As opposed to, I feel like Flickr was like a very specific...
very traditional
K-pop number. I don't know what they would have wanted from Dive Into You to feel like could contend against Flickr. Do you know what I mean?
Style-wise, Flickr is like, they are a group of 5. This is a cohesive group. Mm-hmm. Whereas like this one, they're like obviously still a group, but it's more the purpose of the song is to show off their individual charms.
Yeah.
And I do think some of them are good at showing off those charms better than others.
But that's why I didn't like when Sun Sung-duk was like, Sunoo, I felt like you were expressing and it didn't fit with everyone else. Like it felt like you were just like focused on yourself. But I'm like, that's the song. That's the part that I didn't get at all. I was like, I don't like that.
He was like, you're too smiley. I was like, okay, girl.
Girl, it's the
Okay,
song.
girl. I don't know what to tell you, girl. Earlier in this episode, there's a part where Sunoo's like, I think the song is about like falling in love with a woman. I thought that was a very funny moment.
He's like, I don't. I've heard of it though.
I don't. I've heard of it though.
Yeah, it's the energy.
What was her name?
Life with Mac.
Life with Mac, icon. I thought this was good. I don't really like the song as much as Flicker, but I also know Flicker better, so I couldn't tell if that was like influencing my judgment. The performance was pretty good. Who were your standouts?
Niki.
It is so so insane.
How good he was. Stand out.
You can
Niki.
there is a thing.
It's insane.
There's a thing that like we would talk about in dance class where they would be like, you have to like, the energy has to like, flow out through
extend
you.
out.
Extend all the way out. I could like feel it
Niki
in waves.
Niki feels like he is filling the room with his energy.
It is magnetic.
But it is one person dancing in the center. It's insane.
Study this man.
Study this man.
It's crazy. Not to say that I don't think anyone is bad in this group.
No.
We are at a point in the show where like
It's pins and needles.
everyone is good.
Yeah.
My other standout besides Niki is Hanbin.
Yeah.
He sounds so good.
This is the best Hanbin has sounded
He
and performed.
looks so comfortable. He
I
looks
know.
like he's having fun.
He looks like he is like getting back the confidence that you could tell he really lost in part one.
I know that they say that like Daniel and Taki didn't do great. But I thought they did.
I thought they did.
I thought Taki didn't. I thought Daniel did better than Taki a little bit. But
yeah, that's the weird part. I don't see Daniel being one of the people to get called out that like I feel like it felt short.
yeah,
I think Taki, just by experience, feels like he's falling short, but it does feel more of just like, I just need you to be more comfortable with doing more numbers and stuff.
it definitely.
I don't get that feeling with Daniel.
With Taki and Daniel, it does really feel like they are like, well, you're so young, which is funny because obviously Niki is super young as well. But Niki doesn't feel young,
and Jungwon.
He doesn't feel green.
Jungwon was like a big thing in Flicker.
They don't feel green.
That was like the whole thing. They were like, you don't look and act 17. You feel like you've been doing this.
And he's not 17. He's Korean 17.
He's Korean 17. So he's...
I thought this song was a good song for them to do because there's less polish about the number in general.
Exactly.
That I was like, it kind of worked for this. It works. Yeah.
So then why are you...
I mean, they have to find things to like critique them on, obviously. Yeah. And this brings me to my last comment. They found a way to say something about everyone in this group except for Hanbin. And I'm sure they did in person.
We just didn't get it in the edit.
But like, they did not include that in the edit.
There's 11 people.
One sentence. That's all you need.
Just one
15
sentence.
Seconds. It's so glaring when everyone show that everyone else gets a comment.
And then nothing for Hanbin.
My other favorite part of this episode is that the DIY team comes in and they do these intros, these one-liner intros. They're so cute.
Yeah.
Jay did such a good job this week getting them to this place.
To getting them to like feel comfortable, like, look, this is why people like us, so let's do it. Which is really funny to think about. Like, I could feel that Jay had a sense of like taking a step back.
I just saw who's in our... Oh my God, RJ. I just saw who's in our frames on the windowsill.
You could tell that Jay took a step back and saw that like the team that makes up my team, they're each individually special, that I feel like let's highlight that.
I think he has producer instincts.
Yeah, totally. It feels like he watched the show.
It does feel like
he's watching the show, and he's getting
outside of it, looking down and assessing the whole situation in a way that like it's hard to do. Like, this is what Kay needs. Kay needs to step outside and be like, oh, big picture.
Yeah.
He's too focused in.
Right.
Except when you get now I'm going back to Drag Race. Except when you get to like a silky nutmeg ganache. on her original season,
where it kind of
where
like
it felt like it was like so put on,
and then not even put on, but just like because she stood out as like a strong presence, it almost ended up kind of being her biggest downfall.
Yes.
Because it just kept being like, well, now I have to keep outdoing myself over and over again.
Yes, because
you crash.
And she's only doing it because she was like, I know that if I'm extra, I'm gonna get screen time.
Yeah. Right.
And that is like, I think what is so impressive, the most impressive thing about Jay is, I can't believe we're bookending this episode with talking about Jay, is that he allows himself to like be real and have those feelings and not feel like I have to only show my best sides,
right.
But that it doesn't define him. Like it like he is still able to like work through it and then get to this like end where he was like, they were like, we heard you wanted the PO1 bed from Heesung, and he was like, to be clear, I was like joking. I have no ill will toward Heesung. It was like a joke, blah, blah, blah. Like, to even get to that place is like really charming.
Yeah, totally.
He is like, I don't think it's totally intentional. I just think he kind of like naturally is able to like kind of see the like not the game, I want to say,
which I do think that's what makes Jay cool.
Yeah,
it's being able to feel comfortable not being cool.
Yeah.
We figured it out, Jay.
King.
Jake won. He's getting double votes for the last 24 hours. The girlies are getting voted, and then the person with the least amount of votes will be eliminated from Iland.
And I don't think there's a safety this time.
No safety.
Safety.
The votes were 2. You get to vote 2 people.
The votes were 2. So who would you have voted for? Purely this episode. Taking nothing else into account.
Oof. Just this episode?
Just this episode.
It would be Jay, and I think it would be Hybe.
I think mine would be J and K.
She would have worked.
It would have worked on me.
It would have worked on you. If not Hybe, I would have voted for Jake too. He really impressed me.
The other thing I didn't mention is there's a part where Jake, earlier in the episode, is like Kay is teaching him the date. He's like doing like a one-on-one with Jake.
With Jake, yeah. That's the thing. Kay does care. I think he's just carrying in how his standard for himself. He's carrying into his group. What the expectations I have for myself can't be for the group.
Well, this is the interesting thing about watching the show not in real time, because we're not a part of the conversations that were happening online. And on social media around these episodes. I can see that there would be people who would be like anti-K because they were like, he steamrolls and da-da-da-da-da, like he's really problematic. But like, if you actually watch the episode, it's clear that you can see that like K has an issue.
Yeah.
But I think it's also very clear that it's not. The thing is like for me to like dislike someone, it has to be like, there has to be malice behind it.
Right.
It has to come with malicious intent. And it really isn't, and it's so clear that he cares so much, and that's why he breaks down and cries.
Right. If Kay was like...
He's not crying because he got called out and caught.
No.
Like...
It's because he realized that what he was doing is hurting other people's feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Kay came in and was like, well, I don't care, we need to win.
Right. No, that would be awful.
Then that would be awful.
That is not what's happening.
But that's not what's happening.
Yeah.
It didn't happen last week, it didn't happen this week. So...
But social media also like works themselves up into like a frenzy about stuff like this.
So what else are we doing?
Because like, I mean, even we like with the, I mean, we'll say it with the like K-Soul thing.
Absolutely.
It got out of hand.
Yes.
When like,
to the point that we were just like, you know what? We're just not going to engage.
You don't need to build a case. We're not in court.
Yeah. Anyway. And that's Iland.
See you next week.
Ugh.